All right, hey everybody, let's talk about round 2 here of the Canadian Triple Crown Series Motocross Nationals here from Walton Raceway. 4th of July weekend, Canada Day weekend, big weekend. Interesting 3 15-minute moto format today. Track prep, I thought they did a good job. I mean, I stood in some ruts over there, and they were literally as deep as my knee at the end of the 9 commandments there and stuff like that. So I was impressed today with the track prep. I think we were pretty good too, because yesterday we had an awful lot of injuries. Today the injuries were down. I think we good track prep, I think.
Yeah, I heard, I mean, I was around a lot of the riders this weekend and hanging out and stuff like that, so I heard good and bad. I mean, but that's, I think, every weekend, but I heard it was kind of down to 1 or 2 lines everywhere again, which is kind of how it goes.
I heard specifically it seemed like the lines ended up on the inside, so that you couldn't really sweep around. There were no options on the outside, so it was all kind of inside to inside. Keelan Messon actually mentioned that.
It's funny that Keelan said that to me, actually. It was Keelan.
He's on to something. That's what
he's consistent at best, you know, for sure, with what he thinks of things. But he did actually say that to me, and actually a couple other guys too. So, I mean, I think they were just trying to figure it out. It didn't seem like it was very deep in most parts, but I think it was good. I don't know. I wasn't racing, so
yeah. They stayed up on. They stayed on top of the dust. They stayed, you know, they tilled it. They had time for track prep somehow with this super busy schedule. I mean, it's after 8 o'clock, and we literally just finished with the premix racing, so it was a full schedule. This has been makes it really tough on us media types to actually get stuff up in real time, and just because you try to do something and another event is going on, whether it be women's premix, you know what I mean. So it's always full schedule, always something going on. But let's talk quickly about some of the. A lot of firsts happened this weekend too, which is really cool. Jake Piccolo got his first ever moto win.
Yeah,
number 30.
I mean, Jake Piccolo, he was not a dark horse by any means. He was expected to do well. He's been a club all winter, and yesterday he looked good, and then today he looked even better, and he got that moto, and he won in pretty dominating fashion that moto. I'd say, like, it was, the beginning, it took him a bit, but then he was well in control of that. So I mean, kudos to him, and he was really happy, and it's just great to see that.
Yeah, I don't know. And I spoke with him, and he was they were pretty happy that he actually handled the pressure. I mean, he got out front. Ryder McNabb was all over him. They went through traffic, the lappers and stuff like that. Kept his cool, stayed up on 2 wheels, and got his first moto win. So that was kudos to him. We should actually mention before we forget and move on here too much. Number 32, Casey Keast. You were probably watching the live shot. Came over the catapult, they're calling it. Got out of control, whiskey throttled. I was talking with him too. I did a little, I got some sunscreen or something in my eye here, but spoke with him, and he said he had to make a decision on what the heck to do, so he decided to eject, tried to get up over the log fence, and he's got a sore here on the old left wing, so he's not quite 100% sure on the prognosis. He thinks if he gets it checked out a little more closely tomorrow, he might race next weekend.
Kid's tough, and so that was on the live feed. Was that show?
Yeah, it was on the actual show, the live feed.
Smokes! I didn't see it. I heard about it, and I talked to Casey a few times today actually. And originally I thought he'd broken both his arms. Like, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's what Julian told me, and that's what I tweeted. I said there was a possible injury to both wrists. But turns out that's not the case. And
luckily, I mean, it wasn't worse, because that's a super gnarly section of the track. And ironically, when you and I were here for that practice day, we saw someone crash in the exact same spot into the fence.
Yep.
So yeah,
that's right. Did you remember that?
Yeah,
leg
broke his leg.
Right.
So yeah. Anyways, glad to see Casey's not hurt worse, and if he's good to go for next weekend, then I mean, he'll be there, I'm sure.
All right, now we'll key in on a couple of the top guys here, but I also want to do a shout out to Seth Hughes, number 132, pulled this massive hole shot. I just happened to be the one that I got my phone on, did a little video of, so that was incredible. See that 132 out front there for a minute. Congrats to him. That felt pretty good. Talked to him. He was pretty excited about it. Also, a really great ride by Daniel Elmore. I thought he looked good. Sorry, I'm really messing with my eye here. I've got some serious... I wiped my whole face in sunscreen today. But Daniel Elmore, the number 39 out there, I'm sure a lot of people were going, holy smokes, who's number 39?
Yeah, he was super solid, and looked really good. I was down in Mechanics Row a fair bit today, and kind of in the meat of the action, and you kind of lose a bit, but you also get to see different things too that other people don't get to see. So I got my own kind of view on everything, but he was awesome. It was really good to see him do so well, and kind of be unknown, really, right? Like James and all of us were talking about, like, who is this guy?
Yeah, for sure. And then a shout out too to Davey Fraser, grabbing a 5th in that final moto. Boy, he said he had in the other moto he had problems. He got his clutch was gone right away. He didn't have a clutch to start the moto.
Yeah.
He had a front flat tire. He said he's having a heck of a time. Rode his second bike, which he'd never ridden before, and held on to 5th place.
Yeah, so I like to call him the elder statesman, but I was actually, we were pitted with Davey this weekend. I was around the Carlson Racing team and Davey all weekend, and And yeah, his clutch went out second turn of the second moto, and what was the first moto? Sorry. Anyways, and then so he was riding Casey Keith's Supercross bike. So they did a full like suspension swap, all that stuff, and yeah, it's good to see him come back. And he's actually to get fifth is, I think, is where he kind of should be. It's crazy how fast Davey still is after all these years, and the guys.
Yeah, I watched him at the practice track, and he held Jake Piccolo off for a few laps, so that was pretty impressive to see. So
well, he also got a second off that started as well. The one where he got fifth.
Yeah, so we need to see him pull a hole shot and do the old classic Davey Fraser fist pump. But tough day for Marco Canella, man. He went down. He was dead last in that last one there. It almost looked like he was going to pull off. I wasn't sure if it was bike problems or not, but he held on, got 20th, lost a bunch of points. I mean, this is a kid that he wants to win this title, so it was a tough break for him. He ended up 8th overall, 3-4-20.
Yeah, so I mean, just seemed like Marco just couldn't really seem to get going this today, especially. He was fast, super fast, just couldn't really buy a start, and then just couldn't really get going through the guys, or I don't know what he was doing, but he just couldn't seem to get going. And that last moto, yeah, it did look like he was going to pull off, and I saw Cale put on the pit board, no quit. And I mean, if Cale tells you not to quit, then you don't quit. So he kept going, and obviously got up to the points. And as we've seen before, 1 or 2 points could win you a championship. So you never know. We got lots of racing left to go.
That's right. And I was also very impressed with young BC rider Julian Bennick. He ended up 6th overall, running 5th in that second moto. Man, he looks comfortable running that pace. He's riding well beyond his years too. Yeah,
Julian is a very nice kid, and not surprised. I mean, he's on the way up and he's doing well. So good for him, and to see him running up there in the top 5 or close to it is it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and this kind of next one here kind of shows you what kind of day it was. Quinn Amiot went 9-8-6th for 5th overall. So I mean, you can see that obviously with Marco, with his troubles and stuff like that, kind of moved him up with his scores. He was in some really tight battles out there. It was kind of good to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, like a lot of parity, I think is the word, or what's the word I'm looking for there, but with different results, and different, like guys getting 10ths and then getting your like 5ths or whatever it may be, and as you can see, like it changes up the overalls pretty heavily. So for Quinn, I think Quinn's gonna get better, and he did crash in one of the motos, maybe it was yesterday, but he was charging the entire time. I know him and Davey were at that last moto, 5th and 6th. We were going at it for at least half the, almost 10 minutes probably.
Yeah, and congratulations to Darian Sinai. Got his first moto win up here. He won the second moto, so he goes 5-1-3 for 4th overall. Interviewed him after, and nice guy, and he's looking forward to. He thinks it's going to be a long, tough summer, man. He's going for wins for sure.
Yeah, Darian. Actually, Eric and I were talking to him, so I was kind of doing a bit of a. We're going to hopefully turn it into a bit of a feature, but I was Eric Jeffrey's mechanic this weekend. So anyway, Eric and Darian know each other from Club MX days or some training in the States, and they were talking a bit. Darian's actually a very, very nice guy. I hadn't spoken to him before this, so I didn't really have an opinion, but super nice kid, and glad to see him do well in that last one, and he's going to be getting more comfortable with our tracks. Walton's unique in its own way, I think, and he's on different bikes and whatever, so he's going to keep doing better, and I think he'll be a threat for more wins for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now we talked about 3rd overall, Jake Piccolo, 1-7-2. Now there was some confusion too, because they were doing normal scoring, just doing 3 of them, so it wasn't Olympic scoring stuff. So if you're doing the math, it's it's not as easy as the Olympic scoring, which would have been nice, because 3rd moto is kind of tough on us running around trying to figure out who's doing what. But yeah, Jake Piccolo gets his first win. First moto 1-7-2 for 3rd. 2nd, Ryder McNabb 2-2-4 for 2nd overall. I mean, the totals are very close and everything in these, so it's pretty cool. Ryder McNabb is the real deal. 15-year-old kid, looks comfortable. He expects to win, and he's not done winning for sure this year.
Yeah, Ryder. I mean, we expect him to do well. I didn't expect him to do this well this early.
Exactly.
And he looked way more mature beyond what he is at 15, and I've known him for a number of years too. So I forget that he is so young still, though, and it's
yeah, he brought you gummy bears.
Yeah, or gummy worms.
Gummy worms.
Yeah. So he was eating them after the motos on the fence. So it was a quick reminder of just how young he is still, and he's going to be a real threat going forward. Like I think he's my most improved rider already from last year to now. I don't know what he was doing over the winter. I know he was spending a lot of time in Florida, but yeah, huge changes.
Yeah, cool. And he's got a real racer's mentality too, you know what I mean? He's intense, but he also is having a good time. I mean, those two things, that's how you win moto.
Yeah,
you got to be having fun if you're not having fun.
Yeah, look at Jet Lawrence in the States. That guy has more fun than anybody, and he's killing it. So I know actually they spent some time together, so maybe that rubbed off.
Oh, see, boom, right there. Yeah. Okay, now taking the win, and the red plate continues for young Tanner Ward. 4-3-1, takes the overall. Tanner Ward looks solid out there. I mean, we've got a group of guys at the front that are going to be flipping it. Like you mentioned parity, there is just such parity in the top guys. It's going to be a different winner all the time. I don't think anybody's going to run away with it, I wouldn't say. At first I thought maybe, but I think these guys are all going to have their days.
I think it's going to be amazing summer in the 250 class, because like you said, it's going to be constant winners. I think Marco's going to throw his hat in the ring going forward. Like I said, I think
it's going to be an angry Marco next weekend.
Yeah, he's pretty quiet and pretty subdued, and I think he's going to be pretty wound up. I hope so anyways, because I know that a lot expected of him, and he expects a lot of himself. So I think he's going to be throwing his hat in there too, and we'll see a different Marco.
I hope this guy's just going to idle his Harley for the whole night.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with
that. Thanks, man. All right, let's move over to the 450 class. Again, man, great racing in the 450 class. Holy smokes, we got another first. Jess Pettis wins the overall.
Jess was my dark horse pick for sure. And
3-1-1.
And honestly, I said to him yesterday, I said it to him today too, actually. I said, he's not even a dark horse. Like he killed it. Absolutely killed it.
It's kind of funny because pre-season I kind of said the biggest question mark is how is Jess going to be. Now I joke with Jess now. The biggest question mark is my ability as a moto journalist, apparently.
Yeah. Like,
he killed it. He looked good. He's running this pace with those guys. He says his knee is fine. I think he's going to even get faster.
Yeah, he absolutely blew me away. And I was talking to Matt, his mechanic from last year, who's now kind of moved into a bit of a team manager role at KTM, Red Bull KTM Canada. And I loved what he said. I said, hey man, awesome day. And he goes, yep. He says, but it's not over yet. He said, we got lots of time left and lots of races. So they're not, they're not taking this, they're taking it in stride, and they're just going to keep building on it. I think as a team.
Right, okay, now let's just a couple mentions here as we move up here. So I just want to mention Ty Shemko, man, the 107 from dead last, the last two motos. I mean, he went 10, 10, 12, but those last 10, 12s are from dead last, basically. This guy, great starter. The guy gets great starts. And then, Ty Shemko, I'm really impressed with him.
Yeah, I've known Ty for a really long time too. I keep name dropping, but I have been around the scene for a long time, and I've known Ty since he was young. And I said to him earlier this morning, I said, man, you completely surprised me. I said I was not expecting this at all. I said I didn't know where you're going to be, but I did not expect this. And I said, unreal, good for you. And yesterday he killed it too, Friday. And to do what he did today, he is a top 10 guy.
I think he's a top 8 guy. He's a top,
maybe even better. And
he's the next guy just off that top group, I think, for sure, and sometimes in that top group. So watch for him, the 107 there as we move forward for sure. Some of the best racing of the day was between Liam O'Farrell, Ty Shemko, and Logan Leitzel. Those guys are having a great battle with Parker Eels thrown in there too.
Yep.
So those are fun to watch. Keelan Meston ended up 8th overall, 887 for 8th. He ended up kind of on his own. He wasn't all that happy with the way he rode. He's hoping for more. Watch for that to happen as we move forward too. Keelan getting used to the bike and stuff like that. It looked good, but again, he wants to do better.
Yeah, and Keelan's always trying to improve himself, and he did end up by himself, and so it's hard to kind of move forward when that is the case because you have nothing to gauge yourself off of. So and he definitely he struggled a little bit. He said with the idea of the way the lines were and stuff. Didn't really, maybe not struggle is not the word, but it was difficult. So at times, so. I think he'll do better, especially next weekend in Sand Lee too.
Okay, and ahead of him was his teammate Sean Moffenbauer, went 7.68 for 7th. The best thing that he kind of ended up on his own in a couple too, but one he certainly didn't. He was up there with him and Tyler Medaglia, and then as Dylan Wright had problems and was coming up through them, man, they held him back, we're fighting and battling. Amazing to see. And then when they finished, him and Tyler Medaglia both fist bumped and were woo, they were so pumped with how it's cool to see two guys who've been around for so long.
Yeah,
who just love the battling.
Yeah, a couple OGs. That's what I'd call them. And Sean is super consistent. I know Noof in his predictions before the season actually picked him as a dark horse winner of the series on the Paul Mech show. So
lofty.
It is, but I mean, Sean is no joke. He's going to be consistent. He's going to be there, and I think he gets better as the season goes on. So
right. And ahead of him, Tim Tremblay, 6.76 for 6th overall. Tim just always solid, always solid. I mean, he was out there in battles. I mean, Tyler Medaglia trying to get around him, and Moff trying to get around him. Lots of good battles with him. I mean, I think he loves it.
Yeah, he always seems to be having a good time too. He always gives me a wave and a smile, and he says hey and stuff like that. And he just seems to be having fun. And I think Tim Tremblay having fun is a good thing, and it's a bad thing for everybody else, because he's just, you know, at one point I believe it was a second moto, maybe it was a third. I apologize, I can't remember, but KTM Canada was 1, 2, 3. So for the first like half the moto, so they got to be happy.
Yeah, for sure. And then Tyler Medali was all 5s. He's number 5. He went 5.55 for 5th overall. Tyler,
how unexpected. 5.55s. Tyler, you know, I think he wanted more of himself at certain points, but I mean, the guy's just super solid. Shows up, races everything, races anywhere. That's what we love about him. And you know, as I joke around, T-Dags is going to T-Dags because he's just so solid, and he fights tooth and nail to the end. He never gives up, and like, you know, he's just Tyler. That's what he's always been, and you know, I think it maybe starts hurt him a bit, but like I said, he's gonna race everything. I know he brought his enduro bike because he was gonna maybe race enduro on Thursday. Like, the guy's just gnarly.
Well, check this out. He's also a great father too, because his plan was next week to go to race Southwick, but because the races got canceled and young Talon and Ryan Ferris's kid were here to race, they weren't able to race their last one. So Tyler said, you know what, I'm not going to do that. We're going to go to Gopher Dunes so these kids can race. So we're going to see Tyler next week, because he's just going to want the kids to have more time. They're all the way here from the east.
What a beauty.
So what a beauty.
Yeah, and Tyler races Gopher Dunes really well, as we've seen in the past. And
he won 10 years apart.
Yes, he's won, and he's won 250 titles or races there, and you know, he's super fit. Like, that's we talked about that, and we know he's fit, and he doesn't fade at all. So I mean, Gopher could be the one that we see him on the podium. I wouldn't be surprised.
Right, for sure. Now these top 4 guys are where we're going to see interchangeable finishes. I mean, these guys are going tooth and nail. Different moto, they all seem to have the edge. I mean, we're only 3 motos in basically, but 4 motos in right now. But Marshall Welton went 4.33. I mean, he was in some close battles. Some of these are like, put a blanket over them. They were that close.
I did actually see Marshall hit Dylan's back tire going off the finish line step down. That's how close they were.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was actually pretty sketchy. You know, unintentional, of course, but they were that close.
Great racing, man.
So, yeah.
Okay, so top 3, Dylan Wright goes 1.44. He wasn't happy. He needs to work on the starts. Had some troubles. Had to come from way down. Made tons of passes. I joked about how watching, because in the was it the second moto in the 250s, or second or third? I joked that there's not much more fun in moto than watching Jake Piccolo come from last through the field. Yeah. And then Dylan Wright goes and does the same thing, and like, I stand corrected. Watching Dylan Wright come through the field is equally as exciting.
You know, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I remember in our preview show we talked about, hey, there not being a ton of depth, maybe because we lost some guys, and you know, we lost Nicoletti, we lost Gerke, all these guys in the 450 class, and I haven't seen 450 racing like that in years, where it was, you know, Pettis was out front, or Cole, but it was still like these guys were battling tooth and nail everywhere on the track. Like, it was just awesome to watch, and as anyone that was here today got a real treat.
For sure. And then finishing second, going 2.22 for second, Cole Thompson. Man, those battles at the front were amazing. I mean, that was good. Cole, I mentioned in qualifying, Cole was just dancing around, looking for different lines. He would start in one line and cut over to make another one work, and just always thinking, you know what I mean? Just watching him ride is really, I think it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it was good to see Cole kind of get some consistent results, because I mean, his last few years have been inconsistent, let's call it, and in outdoors. And he's got the speed, he's got the talent. Hang on. Okay.
He's got the say.
And he's got the speed, he's got the talent, and he's able to win motos and championships. So it's good to see him get some consistent results, lead some motos. I'm sure it didn't feel great to have your rookie 450 teammate beat you like Jess did, because I mean,
no, like I interviewed him afterwards too, and like he said, he's trying to gain points on him, not lose points. So you don't want to be the second guy in your trailer. So.
No, so but I mean, good for Cole, and I hope he continues this upward trend for sure.
For sure. And we kind of talked about him right off the bat here at the 450s, but Jess Pettis gets his first ever, his second round in the 450 class. 3.11 for the overall for Jess Pettis. I mean, he's so pumped. He was pretty excited. I got his whole interview recorded too, so we'll put that up as well. But man, looks so good out there.
Yeah, Jess, I mean, Jess earned it. Like, it wasn't like someone crashed in front of him and he won just by chance. Like, he was fighting with Cole, or he wasn't always, you know, leading wire to wire. He had to work for it, and I mean, I just can't congratulate him enough. It's awesome to see, you know, coming in. He was a bit of a question mark on where he would fit in, and I think he made it pretty obvious where he fits in, and and he is no joke, and he rides a 450 very, very well. He's fit. I mean, it's he wasn't dominating. Like, he didn't dominate. He didn't go 1-1-1 across the board, but he's going to be up there every moto, I think.
For sure. So that covers the 450 class and the 250 class from round 2. Now, what's interesting is we're now heading over to Gopher Dunes. So now Jess Pettis on a 450 at Gopher Dunes. How will that go? Well, that'll be interesting. We know Dylan Wright is going to be tough to beat. Cole Thompson has wins there before. You know, it's going to be very interesting. We got a long week. Tuesday, it sounds like everybody's going to be over at Gopher Dunes. So might just have to make a little trip down the road to see everybody getting their last prep done for round 3.
Yeah, round 3. It feels weird to be. We're already round 3, but we have these this Friday, Sunday doubleheader, and we have a doubleheader this weekend at Gopher.
This was a tough weekend.
It was
started midweek.
yeah,
it's a tough week.
It's a bit of a bender.
So as it was.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, thank you very much for watching. We'll try to do these each week, just to kind of give you our thoughts. And there's certain things that maybe show up that we see that wasn't maybe they weren't showing on the broadcast. So we'll try to keep those things in mind and everything. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you at Gopher Dunes.